We're back. We're back. Now, this show is for the fatherless. This is my show I do for the fatherless children, right? Um, so welcome back. We're going to be taking this to the radio, right? So you should be able to see this in the future. So we're going to get straight to it. Now, this is something that I got recently, right? And this is June 24th, 2024. So this is pretty recent information, right, from the American First Policy Institution. Let's just read a couple statistics here. There are approximately 18 million fatherless children in the U.S. Fathers are absent from 80% of single-parent households. Fatherless families are 4 times more likely to live in poverty than that for married coupled families. Fatherless children are more likely to abuse drugs and show signs of delinquent behavior, right? So, for anybody that's growing up in probably this 80% of a fatherless home, there are negative effects, right? Whether you think about them or not, that will play onto your conscience. So, first, what we have to do is acknowledge that there is clearly a problem here with fatherlessness. A lot of us grow up without fathers, and we need to try to make a change. Let's read a couple more. Children from single-parent families are twice as likely to suffer from mental health problems as those living with married parents. And the reason for that is what? I mean, if you're in a fatherless home, your mental health will be a little bit more affected because you have to think about, well, where is my father and why don't he care about me, or why isn't he here for me, versus if you have two parents and they're married and they care for each other, they're loving you correctly, you get to feel good about yourself, right? When you go to school or you go to an event, you get to know both your parents are showing up, while another child could be going there and his mental health is impacted because he can look across and he see you with your mom and dad, but he know in his head he don't have his dad, and that impacts his mental health. That makes him feel less than, or her feel less than, right? Or feel like they're missing a piece of themselves. So I could definitely see that. Data suggests 84% of homeless families are headed by women, and 90% of homeless and runaway children come from fatherless homes. So it seems that, again, the structure, the father is he is structure to the family, right? He is the authority to the family. Eventually, when we get old enough, we're rebelling against mom, but dad can kind of keep that in order, through those teen years when we have to go face the world. Mom, she rules the home. She'll make sure we're safe at home and everything like that. But dad, we need dad to understand how to face that world. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. So clearly is an impact there. 85% of children who exhibit behavior disorders are for fatherless homes. 70% of juveniles in state operated institutions come from single parent homes. Because when you in a single parent home, you have more leeway to do what you want, right? You can sneak around more. You can, maybe if your mom at work, then that's your time to have fun because no one can watch you. And if you leave it to kids to just be honorable all the time behind your back, I mean, you probably won't get too far with that one, right? And it's crazy, 70%. So this is a direct problem to why we have so many children and then young men getting locked up. This isn't just a coincidence. We need fathers in order to keep us headed the right path. Most adolescents who enter the justice system have suffered from parental abandonment, substance abuse, or a dysfunctional household. In a study of 75 juvenile delinquents, 66% experienced fatherlessness, 20% had never lived with their father, and 25% had an alcoholic father. I know my brother, he went in when he was 10 years old. His first time going to jail was 10. And yes, we grew up in a fatherless home. Yes, we grew up with our grandma, no mom. So, yeah, I definitely in real life see these effects in my own life. In a study of 56 school shootings, only 10 of the only 10 of the shooters, 18%, were raised in a stable home with both biological parents. 82% grew up in either an unstable family environment or grew up without both biological parents. Children living absent their biological father are 2 to 3 times more likely to be expelled or suspended at some time. I know I got expelled and suspended as a child, right? And I never, as a child, you don't think about it as, well, this is happening because I didn't have my father, right? You don't think about it like that. But as you get older and you do your own thoughts and research about these topics, you'll learn that the father is so important, right? And that's what this is about, right? If you had your father, you can still learn and be a part of this group to help others. And if you didn't have your father, well, that's what this is for. So we can build a community, right? God is your father. It's a scripture that says this. God is the father of the fatherless, okay? Don't forget that, all right? But while we're here on earth, we can still communicate with each other and express to each other specific problems that we see occur in our own experiences of being in fatherless homes, not just the statistics and what they say. So now we go on to the next one. Girls who feel closeness to their father are 75% less likely to have a teen birth. That's important. A lot of our young girls, they lose their virginities young because they don't have a father to instill any true value into them and to make them feel pretty and to make them understand the logical world and that this is how men will operate. They will try to have sex with you and not like you, and they'll use you. Some of them, not all, right? They don't have that. So this clearly impacts not just, men, but young ladies too. One study showed girls whose father left the home before they were 5 years old were 8 times more likely to become pregnant as adolescents. And I don't think that's just a coincidence. This is how important the father is. And a lot of us, going off of what it says, 80% of us is living without a father. Well, that kind of explains why the world is messed up so much. We need the father. We need the father, always and forever. So then we go to our last few. Children who feel closeness to their father are 80% less likely to spend time in jail. When children have an active, involved father, they are 33% less likely to drop out of school and 43% more likely to get AIDS. I remember I used to skip school in 5th grade, and my friend, he had a dad, and he said he never used to skip school because he was scared that his dad was gonna whoop him. Me, what? Ain't no dad. I do what I want. What? Like, I was not scared of my granny whooping me. Like, okay, so what? So, but in the grand scheme of it all, no, that's wrong. You want the discipline. You need the discipline. And the father, he is the best one to instill that discipline. Children, because even if it's a stepdad or maybe an uncle or something, you can kind of look at that and say, but you're not my dad. When it's your dad, your father, you will have to listen from a different perspective. Children in single-parent homes are more likely to have low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, and more suicidal thoughts and attempts. And that's, again, why this is here. Because we might do that if we have those thoughts. If you're somebody that had those thoughts, right, or had them before, it's in secrecy. It's in silence. And you don't really know about it. There's no true spaces for us to really communicate and talk about those thoughts, right? But that's what this is for, to create that space where we can have these thoughts and they don't have to be stuck in our head, just be comfortable enough and be transparent enough, be honest enough with your soul, with yourself to let it out, right? Who needs therapy? We can come talk to me for free. So now, right, we're going to go to the next topic. This is still the sheet. I want to skim through this next segment here, right? Father absent homes, right? Implications for criminal justice and mental health professionals. Okay, so I want to read a couple of these adverse outcomes, right? Now, one, it says perceived abandonment. Children who grow up without their fathers, may come to resent parental figures due to perceived abandonment. These feelings may bargain from a lack of trust and result in a heightened sense of anger. You ever notice that people that come from fatherless homes, they typically is a little bit more angry, right? Well, I'm mad because I ain't got my dad. Like, that makes me angry, even though nobody talks to us about it. Yeah, that would make you. Let me take. If you got a dad, let me take your dad from you, and let's see if you happy and smiling, and peachy and creamy and fuzzy and wuzzy. It was just a article about young Dolph's. His son is now. The mom said he is becoming more angry since his dad passed away. Um, yes, it definitely. If you have felt, if you are fatherless and you felt like you suffer from abandonment, let me know. Right. So it says, as a child grows into adolescence and young adulthood, these problems may contribute to contact with the criminal justice system, use of substances, as well as a variety of mental health problems. Not having your dad can create mental health problems. These consequences may result in interpersonal dilemmas, including the inability to develop strong social bonds because you can't trust anybody. I can't even trust that my dad would be there. I'm gonna trust you, right? That's typically how it would be. So it says, for an example, anger stemming from abandonment can make it difficult for juveniles to establish friendships and relationships, right? So then the next one, right? We're gonna go to attachment issues, and it's a nice amount of all of these. We're not gonna go through all of them yet. We're gonna go through two at a time, and I'm gonna bring the rest back because I really want to go through these in detail. So then we go on to the next one, right? And we'll stop here on this one. And it says attachment issues. Attachment refers to the deep emotional bond that develops between a caregiver and a child. Children who come from a father absent home are more likely to experience attachment related problems than those from a two parent household. This may result in serious emotional issues throughout the lifespan. The inability to form a strong caregiver bond is associated with hypervigilance to anger and a misappropriation of hostile intent to neutral stimuli, both of which may result in conduct problems in the child. Such misconduct may have the unintended consequence of creating difficulties in the development of friendships and healthy romantic relationships. The active involvement of a father with his children can promote empathy and self control for the child throughout life. I personally have seen this throughout school. People that I noticed they didn't have fatherless children, that didn't have a father in the home when they got in relationships and it's time to break up, it affects them way more than maybe someone with their mom and dad that can just move on because they know they got a mom and dad, right? I can just go tell my mom and dad, I can run back to my mom and dad versus that person that don't have a dad, they can't afford to take so many disappointments, right? Because from the beginning, especially depending if you never had your dad, that relationship has always shown you that you are on your own. That relationship with your father is showing you you're on your own. So when you go meet someone else, they're not on their own. They got their mom and dad to fall back on. You don't have your mom and dad to fall back on. You don't have that same stability. So you're going to be more all in and more attached than maybe they would be. So I want to save this article so we can come back to it. Now, I want to come back to this one. Vanishing fathers. An epidemic of an absent man is causing children to fail academically and socially. So I want to look at what she has to say for a little bit, right? And then we'll come back.
As much as we would like, we can't talk to our boss the same way we would talk to our best friend.
Homeless youths, 90% of them don't have a father. And then you're talking about youths that have substance abuse issues, that's 70%. High school dropouts, 71%. I mean, all women that have been exploited, 70%. Think about those numbers. Like, they're just so high. Even the 2023 census report, it was a little over 15 million children that don't have an involved father. And I mean, that roughly goes to 1 out of 5 kids. So the mother is so very important. Think about it. Okay, so you have a baby and the baby's, an infant. and that baby needs the mom. Like, I am the food source, I am the nurturer. Like, that is where really the moms are extremely important, and that baby cannot live without the mom. And then you see the toddler phase of it, and that rough and tumble play is very important for boys. It kind of like shows them how to be rough and tough, get that energy out, but also not go to the extreme, right, to kind of be able to hold in that. You have a child and the child goes out, the father, what they do is they give them the ability to go out into the world knowing that they might fail, but that's okay, giving them that courage to be able to go out into the world and that independence and being able to feel okay. And then when they come back, when they do fail, the mom is there to kind of tell them it's okay, nurture them, and then the father is there to say, all right, you're done, let's go, it's time to go back out again. So think about when toddlers are little, like sometimes I have to even turn my head with like my husband because he lets them do things that I wouldn't let them do, because I'm too scared. They give them the confidence to go out and be independent, that confidence to take chances. And they're extremely important with the upbringing of children. I think it boils down to a lot of what society now is focusing on, and they don't talk at all about the importance of a dad being in with a home. They also don't, they speak very negatively about, toxic masculinity and all of these aspects of being a man that are negative. So they're kind of telling them that these unique traits that they biologically have that are absolutely wonderful and that we need are bad. And they're also not encouraging, so if you think of the school system, that is not conducive very well to boys learning. They're just, girls and boys are made so differently, and they're not really appreciating those unique traits that boys have. And so what they're doing is that when they don't have a father within a home, and then they're hearing all of this, that what they're doing is bad. And boys are bad, and the way that you act is bad, and you shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that, but it's completely incorrect.
Now you can come watch more of that. That was a great video, and she wrote a whole book about vanishing fathers, so you can come watch more on that. And I agree with a lot of what she said, right? Again, like I was telling y'all, we will allow us to, like men, will allow us to go out and play, have fun, do what we want, explore the world. Mom, she will keep you safe at home. Dad will help you navigate the world. And it's needed more. Like she said, it's not really talked about how much the father is needed. It's actually gotten to a point where some people say, I can just have a kid, I don't need the father. If I got the money, I don't need the father's physical presence. And the statistics just keep showing that is just not true. Now, here, I wanted to bring some charts in. I want to specifically look at the charts. I want to look at the charts. I don't want to get too carried away with everything else. Percentage of young men who graduated from college at ages 28 through 34. Bio father, 35. Bio father absent, 14. Is it possible? Yes. But does the chances get slimmer? Yes. Do we like that? No, we want to stop that. So then, here's another one. Percentage of young men who are idle at ages 25 through 29. Bio father absent, 19. Idle, right? No college degree, not redoing nothing. Bio father present, 11. Idle refers to not working or in school. So, again, everything is always, there's a possibility for everything. But you clearly see with a father present, you will typically be more idle. With a father present, percentage of young men who've been arrested or incarcerated. Ever been arrested by ages 15 through 19. With a father present is in the blue, 21. Yellow is absent, and it goes to 31. So a father present, you have less likely of a chance to be arrested. And when it goes to 28 through 34, as you get older, people with a father, decreases to 10, and without a father it decreases to 21. But still the statistic still remains, right? And this is what I'm getting from all of this. That we're just going to keep showing you a plethora of different examples of why fathers are needed. So now that we know that fathers are needed, I want to quickly go over, for the people that don't have a father, what are some ways to help ourselves, right? Mentally, right? Help our mental health. They say this can cause mental health problems. Okay. Well, one way is meditation. And I want to look at why meditation is important, right? Um, Number one, it calms nerves. So, um, meditation has been proven to soothe the nerves and dramatically reduce the many negative effects brought about by the sympathetic nervous system, such as anxiety, tension, fatigue, and depression. Now, what we just read, anxiety, tension, fatigue, and depression comes with not having a father. 80% of us don't have that. So, meditating is something that we probably don't learn in school too, or we don't know that that is needed, but definitely in praying. Better breathing, right? Some research has even shown that in addition to enhancing breathing via oxygen uptake, nutrition flow, and circulation, meditation also enhances and promotes diaphragmatic breathing. The diaphragm is the primary muscle of respiration and a lobe found below the rib cage. When we inhale, it contracts and flattens, creating a vacuum effect that pulls air into the lungs. Another key player in respiratory function shown to benefit from meditation is the pharynx nerve, as it provides exclusive and crucial motor control of the diaphragm. Now, brain power. It helps with your brain power. Meditation also has an amazing variety of neurological benefits by improving connectivity between brain regions. A recent study showed participants who've been meditating for an average of 20 years had more gray matter volume throughout the brain, right? Next is soothes pain, which people don't know, right? Based on an ancient form of meditation known as mindfulness meditation has been shown in clinical trials to reduce chronic pain by 57%. Experienced meditators can reduce it by over 90%. So you can be mindful. Meditation, it helps with sweet dreams. So quality sleep plays a vital role in fighting fatigue while remaining functional. And one powerful neurochemical, melatonin, is critical to the falling asleep process. Stress is melatonin's number one enemy, inhibiting the natural sleep cycle. So low melatonin levels initiated by the stress create all types of mental, emotional, and physical problems. So, produced in the brain, melatonin is a hormone that peaks just before bedtime, ensuring a night of deep, restful sleep. So, if you're stressed out about not having a father, that can impact your sleep, which can impact your health. It all impacts everything affects everything. So you not having a dad, it all affects you psychologically. Focus and concentration. So scientists at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte found that students were able to improve their performance on tests of cognitive skill after just 4 days of meditation training for only 20 minutes per day. Mindfulness training improved both GRE reading comprehension scores and working memory capacity while simultaneously reducing the occurrence of distracting thoughts. So meditating helps you focus and concentrate on what you need to focus and concentrate on. So if you find yourself having bad mental health about being fatherless, meditation can help. And lastly, right, balances mental emotional health. A new study from the University of Oxford finds that mindfulness based cognitive therapy may be an effective way to wean people off even successful courses and has shown to be just as effective as antidepressants for preventing a relapse of depression. Not only does meditation change the brain, but it changes our subjective perception and feelings as well. When you meditate, you are now in the present moment. We can get lost in our thoughts. We want to be mindful presently here, right now, at this point in time. We don't want to get lost in our thoughts all the time. So, our last segment, which we're going to go over right here. How do we deal with negative emotions, right? If you have a negative emotions, how do you deal with that? Okay. So I want to go look at a couple of these, right? A couple of coping ways to deal with negative emotions. Don't blow things out of proportion by going over them time and time again in your mind. So don't go over time and time again that you don't have a dad, and that it's hard, and that you're in a struggle, and that he ain't coming to save you, and that he ain't doing what you think he should be doing. Don't do that. It's no point, right? Don't blow it out of proportion. It is what it is. God gave you the cards that he gave you, and now you have to still make something appear. Okay? With the cards that you have. That's all you can do. Try to be reasonable. Accept that bad feelings are occasionally unavoidable, and think of ways to make yourself feel better. So if you're feeling bad about not having your dad, understand that there's other people that's just like you. There's other people that's in a worse situation than you, right? And be grateful for what you do have. If you do have a dad that show up sometimes, then that's good. If you don't have a dad at all, well, at least be grateful that he brought you into this world. Always try to find a way to be grateful for life and accept that you feel bad. It's okay to feel bad about not having your father. It's okay. Once you accept it, then it'll become a lot easier. Relax. Use pleasant activities like reading, walking, or talking to a friend, or anything, playing a game, anything that you find relaxing. Go relax. Anytime you feel stressed out or you feel a negative emotion coming, it's not even just about your dad, just in general. Go relax. You have to take a deep breath and relax. Learn. Notice how grief, loss, and anger make you feel, and which events trigger those feelings so you can prepare in advance. So you got to pick up on what triggers you, right? If somebody irritates you, you got to know what it is that's irritating you so you can learn to avoid that. Okay? If I don't like people that talk loud, I need to know that I don't like people that talk loud so I can avoid that. Now, if I go into a room and somebody's talking too loud and I didn't like that, I'm just going to remove myself instantly because I already know that that's going to trigger me and that's going to bring me negative emotions. So the same thing, if you know that thinking about your dad brings you negative emotions, then you need to kind of remove yourself from thinking about that, right? Accept that you don't have it and then remove it. Out of sight, out of mind. Don't think about it because it's not going to help you. The only thing you can do is focus and help the next man like you. Okay? Exercise. Aerobic activity lowers your level of stress chemicals and allows you to cope better with negative emotions. Exercise is always the answer. Okay? You always should work out. Working out will fix a lot of problems because what's negative about working out? Nothing, right? There's no cons really to working out. You're always going to feel good. Who works out good and feels bad about it, right? You typically don't. Typically, after you finish a good workout, your mental health feels positive that you did something today, right? That you got a hard task done. That's a positive thing. That's a goal that we should achieve. So, if you're a fatherless person, you need to be in shape. How about that, right? If you're sad about not having your dad, you need to be in shape. And then, what I've been saying, let go of the past. Constantly going over negative events robs you of the present and makes you feel bad. And that's what I'm saying. We are here right now in the present moment. We have to feel good about ourselves right now because we are alive, right? We are at the age that we are at. We are healthy, and we have a chance to go out here and make something of ourselves. So no matter what we came from and no matter what our past is, no matter if we had our father or if he was there and he left, or no matter what it is, right? We have a chance to go out here and be better. We have a chance to go out here and make a difference, right? And so we can make that 80% change. We can change that 80%. We can make it better for the people that's coming next, right? So hopefully we can change the generations around and those numbers go down to 50%. Then maybe they go down to 30%. By the end of our lifetime, maybe we can look and say, look, we helped get it down to 25% of fatherless homes, right? We'll probably never eliminate the problem, but we want to attack the problem as much as we can. So for all my fatherless people, we'll be back next week for the show, okay? It's all right. You're good. Your mental health is good. You are great. You are needed. Okay? We need you. Just because you're fatherless, that don't mean that nobody care about you. No, okay? We still need you. The world still needs you, right? If you have kids, they need you. If you got friends, they need you. You got colleagues, they need you. God still needs you. He still needs you to do his work. Moses didn't have his dad. David didn't David didn't have his dad. Joseph didn't have it. They didn't have his dad. He got sold away from his dad, but yet God still used him to do his work. So as long as you're doing your work for God, it's okay that you didn't, have a dad, right? That's what this community is here for. We're gonna keep this community open, and like I said, hopefully, I can get this on radio, right? So let me know how y'all like it, and y'all see some clips on radio. I'm telling you. All right, so I'll see y'all next time. So be here next time. If I say I see you next time, you got to be here next time, dude.